WMDT 47 News, live at 6.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Ashley James. Terrence is off tonight. More news in less time starts now. Last night, WMDT brought you breaking news of a 15-year-old boy who had been shot. Marquise Lupton is following that story and has the very latest.
Shots fired Sunday night rocked the Salisbury neighborhood. It left a 15-year-old boy with a gunshot wound to his torso.
I heard maybe 4 to 5 shots, I did, and it's terrifying. I mean, I have a teenage daughter. A bullet don't have a name on it, and that could have been my daughter that got hit. So it's scary. It really is.
Residents of East Church Street claim that this kind of activity is common around their area, stating that something needs to be done to decrease the violence.
I think there should be a curfew here in Salisbury. If you're under the age of 18, you should be in the street, off the streets by a certain time. I think that would eliminate a lot of it also.
The shooting happened here on the intersection of Records and East Church Street. And residents say that the boy was sitting on his porch when the gunman ran up on him and shot him. The suspect fled on foot and is still at large, leaving a teenager who neighbors say is a good church-going kid in the hospital fighting for his life.
I've been living here for 5 years, and I mean, the last couple months it's been kind of quiet, but this happens all the time over here.
Marquise Lupton, WMDT 47 News.
The suspect in this shooting is described as being a thin African-American male. The investigation is continuing. Anyone with information should contact the Salisbury Police Department at 410-548-3165. A Delaware man is on the run tonight after allegedly sending 2 men to the hospital. Police say while at a party in Townsend, 22-year-old James Woznicki threw a glass bottle at one man, hitting him in the head, then punched and kicked a second man in the face multiple times. That victim was rushed to the hospital and is still listed in serious condition. Police tried to arrest the suspect yesterday, but he fled. Anyone with information is urged to call Crime Stoppers. That number for you is 1-800-TIP-3333. A stabbing in Rehoboth Beach lands one man behind bars. 34-year-old LeVar Hall reportedly got into an argument with a 19-year-old on New Year's Eve, which quickly turned into a fight. Police say Hall then pulled out a pocket knife and stabbed the teen multiple times. The victim was taken to the hospital and treated. Hall is facing multiple charges and is being held on $20,000 bond.
WMDT 47 News First Forecast.
Good evening, I'm meteorologist Stephanie Allison. Well, we start out with a little sunshine today, but those clouds increase quickly and that wind is picking up outside. Let's take a look. Satellite radar showing you some cloudy skies outside right now. We're going to continue to see the clouds in and out, and temperatures are starting to fall. The warmest temperature was today at midnight last night, basically. So we did fall quite a bit. Today's highs were in the mid-40s, and now we're dropping quickly into the 30s, and we're going to plummet tonight down into the 20. So certainly cold night in store for us. Chucky Plummer and Lewis right now at 36, along with Carol Loy and Long Neck. Connie and Greenwood, Paul Yanucci and Milton, Tom Lockerman and Bridgeville 37, Pat Diefendorfer in Riverdale 39, Sarah Ash in Pittsville, Kelly in Snow Hill 40 degrees, Kenny Wheatley in Cambridge 39, Tom Hubrick in Waterview at 44, and Betty in George Island Landing at 37. So numbers are falling. I'll give you the 7-day coming up a little later in the show. First, back to Ashley.
Thanks so much, Stephanie. Tonight, authorities made a big break in the series of arson fires that has kept Los Angeles residents on edge for days. Police have one man in custody and say no fires have been set since he was arrested. ABC's Scott Goldberg has the details.
Authorities in Los Angeles tell ABC News they're confident they found the man who's been setting fires across the LA area. Police took him into custody this morning and say he will be charged with arson. Sources say he's a German national who may have been motivated by a deportation hearing against his mother, and when he was detained, he told officers, "I hate America." Police searched the minivan he was driving, and sources say they found flammable materials that matched materials used in the fires.
We have not responded to any fires since this individual was detained this morning just after 3 o'clock.
Since Thursday night, authorities say someone or some people deliberately set 55 fires. The blazes started in and around Hollywood but moved into the San Fernando Valley. Overnight, firefighters found a dozen cars burning. No people have been seriously hurt, but in some cases, the fires have jumped to buildings, threatening lives.
We have automobile fires that are intentionally set underneath carports or parking structures or adjacent to apartments where people are actually residing.
Police found the suspect after they handed out DVDs with grainy video of a man in his 20s or 30s seen walking away from a parking garage where someone had reported a car fire.
Police also arrested 2 people last week and charged them with arson, but officials don't believe they had anything to do with the string of arson attacks over the weekend. Today, crews from the Ocean City Fire Department headed back to school. Over 40 firefighters and paramedics spent the day training to renew their national certification. They got to handle new equipment, tested on mannequins, and trained to use everything they learned under pressure to prepare them to deal with any trauma or medical emergency.
When we're treating critically ill patients, it's very important for us to be aggressive on our treatment, understand what the patient needs, and the airway is the #1 thing that we're taught, even as basic life support providers.
The fire department was also trained on a device called the Glide Scope, which uses a video camera to help paramedics get a real-time view of a patient's airway. And as the temperatures are dropping, many are cranking up the heat, which has firefighters on high alert. Winter can be the most dangerous time of year when it comes to house fires, and officials are asking everyone to make sure their smoke detectors are working and up to date. Smoke detectors save thousands of lives every year, and to make sure you and your family are safe, they recommend that every home have at least 1 detector on each floor.
Everybody please have one. These are a lifesaver. They can also, if you do not use them properly, it can be a not so pleasant situation, unfortunately, in our line of work and everybody's line of work. And also, if anybody has any gas-fed utilities in the residence, it'd be a smart idea to get a carbon monoxide detector and place it in there, because that is a silent killer.
If you are in need of a fire detector, you can receive them for free at your local fire station, and if needed, they will install them for you and your family. Well, the holidays are over, which means it's time to clear one fire hazard out of your home, your Christmas tree. There are several drop-off sites set up all over Delmarva that are open until at least the middle of January. The trees must be stripped of decorations and detached from tree stands before they can be recycled. For a full list of locations and drop-off times, just head to our website. On December 17th, Delaware residents turned out in drovers to support the gun buyback program and turned in thousands of firearms. Due to the great response, officials ran out of funds to buy back the guns by midday. For the rest of the event, they handed out vouchers, which can be redeemed for bank gift cards this weekend. Anyone with a voucher can head to the Canaan Baptist Church in Newcastle on Saturday from 9 until 4 p.m. to redeem their gift card. And to find this story and much more, log on to WMDT.com. All eyes are on Iowa tonight. Voters are set to put the Republican presidential hopefuls to their first real test tomorrow. ABC's Karen Travers has the very latest on the campaign trail.
The Republican contenders are scrambling for votes.
Get out there and vote tomorrow. I need every vote. Get your friends to do the same.
The others represent the status quo.
The polls show Mitt Romney's the man to beat, but Ron Paul is right on his heels. Yesterday, a confident Romney ignored his Republican opponents and took a swipe at President Obama.
The gap between his promises and his performance is the largest I've seen, well, since the Kardashian wedding and the promise of till death do we part.
Newt Gingrich is fighting to stay alive after several weeks of blistering negative attacks on television from an independent group of well-financed Romney supporters. Gingrich vowed to stay positive, but now with his campaign flailing, he's lashing out.
Romney, in the end, is in a culturally hopeless position.
What do you mean?
He's a Massachusetts moderate in a conservative party.
Gingrich's collapse has been Rick Santorum's gain. The former Pennsylvania senator is the hottest candidate on the trail right now after months of quiet, tireless campaigning.
This is town hall meeting number 367.
The rest of the field is trying to capture the attention of those likely caucus goers who say they still could change their mind by tomorrow.
Iowa usually doesn't pick the winner, but they always pick the loser.
For now, all of the candidates are vowing to stay in the race no matter where they finish in the polls, but the Iowa caucuses could mark the end for several campaigns. GOP presidential candidates hoping to get penciled into Virginia's primary ballot shouldn't hold their breath. The Virginia Attorney General announced that he would not be changing the rules that kept all but 2 of the presidential hopefuls off the state's primary ballot. Mitt Romney and Ron Paul will be the only GOP candidates on the ballot when Virginia voters head to the polls on March 6th. Both Newt Gingrich and Rick Perry failed to get the 10,000 required signatures. Coming up in 6 minutes, the search for a missing Maine toddler has taken a sad turn, while police are now saying they definitely suspect foul play in her disappearance. And it was a cold and windy day in Ocean City, but even the frigid temperatures couldn't keep some people off of the beach. When we come back, Stephanie will let us know if there is a warm-up in our future.
Find these stories and more at WMDT.com.